From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the new news update for June 5th, 2026. Chinese leader Xi Jinping will be traveling to North Korea next week in first visit since 2019. Chinese leader Xi Jinping will travel to North Korea next week, both countries announced Friday, in what will be his first visit in nearly 7 years. His trip will be the latest in a series of steps by China to reinforce its close ties with its nuclear-armed neighbor, whose leader, Kim Jong-un, has reached out to Russia in recent years, notably by sending troops and conventional weapons to support its war against Ukraine. Kim has likewise been cozying up again to China, the North's biggest trade partner and aid provider in the past year. As North Korea builds closer ties with Russia, China seeks to use Xi's trip to reassert its influence over Pyongyang and safeguard its strategic interests in Northeast Asia, said William Yang, an analyst for the International Crisis Group. Xi will make a state visit from Monday to Tuesday, state media from both nations said in brief dispatches. His last visit was in June 2019. President Donald Trump is set to funnel $26 million from national park entrance fees into hiring police. President Donald Trump is putting $26 million collected from national park entry fees into expanding the U.S. Park Police, according to Notice. The money is going to be reserved for hiring United States Park Police officers and other personnel to be stationed not across the country, but in Washington, according to an Office of Management and Budget database. The news comes after the Washington Post reported Wednesday that the Trump administration would use at least $90 million of the park entry fees to sponsor a $1.6 million fireworks display and $76 million in fountain repair work. The New York Times reported last month that some conservationists have criticized the use of these fees as cosmetic rather than necessary, especially since other parks have lists of more pressing unmet repairs. And finally, this news from Maine. Platner denies allegations of violence and says he won't be dropping out of the race. In his first national interview, following a New York Times report detailing accounts of unsettling behavior toward former romantic partners, Maine Senate candidate Graham Platner denied allegations of violence and insisted that he would not be dropping out of the race. In the Thursday Times report, Lindsay Fifield, a woman who had dated Platner from 2013 to 2015, alleged that he could be rough. Quote, she said he regularly grabbed her by the shoulder, sometimes hard enough to leave marks, and on one occasion yanked her out of a cab by her wrist after an argument when she wanted to stay in the car, end quote. That comes from the Times. In one instance, Fifield recalled that he had, quote, twisted her arm behind her back, shoved her into a bedroom, and held the door closed from the other side so she couldn't get out, according to the publication. Fifield also told the Times that Platner was aware of the meaning of a Nazi symbol tattooed on his chest. Platner said he learned recently the meaning of the symbol and had to move to cover it. Fifield, a conservative who's worked with former presidential candidate Nikki Haley and the Heritage Foundation, has said her decision to speak out was not related to her political beliefs. Two other women who had been romantically involved with Platner also alleged that he could be demeaning toward women, engaged in heavy drinking, and was unfaithful. There are some allegations in this piece that I just want to be kind of unequivocal about are simply not true. Anything alleging physicality, anything alleging that I knew what my tattoo was, these are the statements of someone who's politically motivated. Platner said in the Thursday MS Now interview, if there was violence, that's a huge issue, but those allegations are false. When asked about reports that he had sent sexually explicit text messages to women outside of his relationship, Platner also acknowledged that he had made mistakes early on in his marriage to his wife, Amy Gertner. As the New York Times and Wall Street Journal previously reported, Gertner had flagged the issue to the campaign out of concerns that it could pose a liability to Platner's candidacy. At the beginning of our marriage, I made mistakes and Amy held me accountable for them, and we worked through them, Platner said. He added that he had no plans to drop out of the Senate race as the primary fast approaches next week on June 9th. It has never crossed our mind to drop out of this thing, Platner said. That's the news update for this hour. Our next news update is scheduled for 6 p.m. From the PEP Radio Newsroom, I'm David Moore.